You know the biggest lie in America? That endings don't matter. In video games specifically. A lot of people in the video game media, a lot of people who just play video games in general will say, it's not about the ending, it's about the journey. Well, it's not entirely correct. An ending to that journey can make or break it. Now, I'm not talking about end games in MMOs or games like Destiny, where it's multiplayer and you need something after you finish the story. I'm talking all about story-driven games. The ending can make or break them. It's similar with movies, but I think it's highly multiplied when it comes to video games because it's an interactive experience, and you are playing as the character, or you are playing as the character you created, in which it enhances the experience and makes it that much more interactive. Therefore, the ending is absolutely critical. There's two perfect examples of games with endings that are either highly debatable or just caused a huge ruckus, or just are flat out bad. Everyone has varying opinions. But if your ending is debatable, then did you really do your job? Can you really say as a developer that you've satisfied the quota? That you've satisfied all the fans if everyone's debating your ending? All press is not good press. That's not true either. For some companies it is. For UFC, all that negative press, yeah, that'll work for you. But this is video games. Negative press doesn't work here. It'll get people talking. It's not going to get people to support your game or support your studio the next time you drop a game. But I want to get to the examples. Now, these are two examples of games that I have personally played. And not only that, but that I personally love. I believe if you pick examples of games that you haven't played, then you're being disingenuous. So I'm going to start with the first one, which on one of my other videos, where I ranked the entire franchise that this video game has, there's a lot of blowback. Though if you go over to the video, which I'll link down in the description, you will see that I have more support on that video than I did against the negatives. The people who, they have a problem with my ranking, so they decided to throw shade, which is alright. That's alright. But the reason why these people are so vocal is because they feel backed into a corner. And when you feel backed into a corner, you're either obviously in the minority or you feel like you are. And there's a reason for that. It's like DC fans. There's a reason why they fight back so hard against the critics, against the people who talk about their movies, because they feel backed into a corner. Because when a movie like Batman vs. Superman comes out and it gets slammed by critics, who's on their side? Fans are slamming it, critics are slamming it. So, to all you Persona 3 fans defending that ending, let's talk about it. Persona 3's ending is highly debatable. It's debated across many forums. It's not that liked of an ending. It's not. If it was, then it wouldn't be such a big debate. You wouldn't come on my video where I flat out say that the ending ruined it for me, where I flat out say that the ending is what dropped it to third place on the Persona list, and debate it. It's always the vocal minority. The majority doesn't care. They're like, oh, that's bad. I'm not going to talk about it. They don't need to go in the comment sections and defend their opinions. Because they know that it's bad. And they don't care what anyone else has to say. They know it's not good. Persona 3's ending is highly debatable. And the Persona 3, if you've noticed, was not the game that got people into the franchise. And I'm talking most people. I'm talking majority here. Majority got started with 4. Golden, to be mostly exact. But it was 4. 4 converted a ton of people. And you know what you know what kind of game 4 was? It was fun. It was Marvel. Let's put it that way. Marvel's probably the easiest comparison to use when it comes to stuff like this. Because they have a formula, no, that's fun. They're never serious. They don't kill people or anything. And they have the most success. They do. It's just facts. People don't want to see their favorite characters die. And that's in movies. It's even worse in video games. Especially when the video game is an RPG. Break that down. RPG. What does that stand for? Role-playing game. I'm role-playing as this character. I'm him. I'm Minato. That's what you're telling me when you label it as an RPG. I am playing as Minato. I'm Minato because I'm role-playing as Minato. That's who he is. But that's me. So I get to say whether I want my character to die. I should get that option. You can't say this is an RPG role-playing game and then kill my character. You can't do that. Just because your game has dark themes and it's all about death doesn't mean you kill my main character, who I'm supposed to be. Now, there aren't like heavy choices in Persona 3 that determine the story. There's a couple here and there we can get a game over. And you get to choose who your waifu is, but that doesn't have a big part in the story. You just get to go on dates. It's a side thing. But if you're going to kill off me, my character, you better earn that. You better earn it. And a lot of people didn't feel like it was earned. You go to any Reddit forum on Persona 3. All you have to do is type in Persona 3 ending, and there it is. Debates all over. There's a reason, right, in RPGs, especially nowadays, choices are beginning to matter more and more. And this game, Persona 3 is old. It's a turn-based RPG. It's not like Witcher and Mass Effect and Dragon Age where the story branches off. That's not how it is. But it is still an RPG. I'm still role-playing as this character, okay? You can't kill off my character without my permission. Do you guys get what I'm saying here? Because you're telling me that this is an RPG, a role-playing game. I'm him, okay? Sure, you have your story. You have your set story. RPG, role-playing game, you got basically just one ending with some game over endings. You got one ending. Okay. But I'm still this character, and you're giving me certain choices throughout the game. You're telling me, I could go on dates, I can have a waifu, I can have multiple waifus. People get into that. They get into that, man. The shipping and all of that. And then you snatch it away by saying, nope, dead. And it's just easy to tell. And so many Persona 3 fans that came on my channel and they defended Persona 3 heavily. There's a reason why that game is not looked up upon the same way as Persona 4 and 5. Persona 4 and 5 are more popular than 3. They just are. There's so many facts to back it up. Persona 5 was a killer seller. Persona 4 was a killer seller. Golden was a killer seller. Did Persona 3 sell well? Yes, but no, it's not Persona. It's not 4 or 5. It doesn't have that following. 4 got the most games because how popular it was. 4 started the dance thing before 3 had to get one with 5. Didn't even get one after 4 did. It's right there in your face. This game's the most popular one. There's a reason. People like light and fluffy. You can throw dark in there. Persona 5 is a very mature game. And guess what? They didn't kill the character at the end. They didn't. So, Persona 3 being the only one in that trilogy of 3 through 5 to kill their character at the end is the least popular one. You don't say. You don't say, do you? You don't say. Because Persona 5 was just as mature as Persona 3. It just didn't have as much depth. It didn't have as much depth. And look at Game of Thrones, right? Game of Thrones works better when you're not killing people. Wasn't this last season the highest watched season? How many deaths? How many? Oh. Ha! That's right. Didn't it have the least amount of deaths in a Game of Thrones season? Now, some of you may say, oh, no, season 3 was the best season. That's only because you like the ending so much. Season 6 had the higher ratings. Sorry, not sorry. Now, let's switch over. Because I went 10 minutes on Persona 3. The biggest ending controversy in all the video games was Mass Effect 3. I am the biggest Mass Effect fan. I love Mass Effect. I'll defend 3 every day that you want to debate me. But guess what 3 did? In the same vein as Persona 3. The 3s. Oh, it's the curse of the 3s right now. You killed off the character. And to make it even worse, Mass Effect is a game that has branching storylines, choices that matter, a romance that matters throughout the game. All of that is the true definition of an RPG. This is what an RPG is meant to be. This is what RPGs should, all of them should be. Because if I'm role-playing as a character, I should get to make the choices, not you. Don't call it an RPG if I don't get to make the choices. You can still streamline a story and give me choices with multiple endings. They did it. They just did it wrong at the end there. They fell off a cliff at the end there. Instead of walking the bridge, they fell off. We all know that Mass Effect 3 gave you 3 endings in which basically Shepard died in all of them, unless you got the quote-unquote secret endings because you had enough war assets to hear Shepard breathe. Also, that's supposed to be the player's only sigh of relief that their character may still be alive and they get to have their little blue babies with Liara, is a breath at the end of the credits? And that, I don't even believe that was always there. I played Mass Effect 3 late when they already had like added the extra endings in there. So I don't recall, I don't truly know if that breath was there when the game was first launched. But you gave them 3 endings and practically which she's all dead. You can't do that to players. You can't tell players that this is an RPG, it's your RPG and your choices matter and all of this. Persona 3 didn't suffer from choices, but it did suffer from killing off the character, which was a controversy, and it's still a controversy to this day. There's a reason why it's not as popular as 4 and 5. It's the same thing with Mass Effect 3. There's a reason why Mass Effect 3 is not as popular as Mass Effect 2. It's because of the ending. I feel Mass Effect 3 did so many things better than Mass Effect 2, except for that ending. I love Mass Effect 3. I put it above Mass Effect 2 because of the stuff it did get right. But is that ending a knock? Yes. It is. If you're going to kill off a character, it has to be in a story-driven game. That's nothing but story. No choices. None of that. Not an RPG. You can't have one singular ending in an RPG where you kill off my character and expect me to be happy about it. This has happened in multiple games, but these are the 2 that I know most because these are the 2 that I played and that I love. You can't do that. You can't take away that option from the characters. You can't say you have to die at the end of this game. Because the people playing don't want that. And they shouldn't be forced into it. CD Projekt Red did it best with The Witcher 3. There's multiple endings to The Witcher 3. You don't have to die. You don't have to let your characters die. You can save basically everyone in that game. No one's forced to die in that game. Trish, nope. Triss, double S, Triss. Yennefer, nope. You can't. Why do you think that game sold so well and is so critically praised and got all the Game of the Years, man? Not just because of that ending. I'm not sitting here saying that this singular reason is the reason why I won Game of the Year. No, I'm saying that helps. I'm saying there's a reason why there was no ending controversies. Because it's like the curse of the threes. You know, Mass Effect 3, Persona 3, Witcher 3 could have suffered from the same thing. There's a lot of threes that just suck. Even in games that where the ending might have actually been good. Dead Space 3's ending wasn't bad. The game was just bad, you know? Well, the game was okay. That's a whole new topic. But endings matter. It's not just about the journey. Yes, the journey is what takes the longest, but the ending can drop your score from a 10 to an 8. An ending dropped Mass Effect scores, and these are from people, not based on actual reviewers. From people, they dropped it from like a 9 to a 0. They said, oh, that's how you're ending my game? Nope. Bad review. 0. You suck. There was outrage, man. Persona's not popular enough over here to have that outrage. If Persona 3 was as popular as Mass Effect when it came out, it would have had that outrage. Even Persona 5 getting number 1 on the charts in the United States when it come out. If it would have had Persona 3's ending, it wouldn't have had that Mass Effect outrage. Because it hasn't been 3 games that's been going with a character that they tell you choices matter. But it would have been debated. It would have been something that's in every forum. All the comment sections. And the artsy-fartsy people who defend endings like this love to say, oh man, it teaches you this, or it's poetry, or it's beautiful. Man, we don't care. No one cares. It's not about your art, bro. This is a business. It's a video game. You're making this for multiple consumers. You gotta think of them first. You can't put your art first. Marvel doesn't put their art first. They make the most money. They don't put their art first. They say, here's what fans like. We're gonna give it to them. Yes, you get your artistic freedom. A little bit. They really don't give artistic freedom over there. But you better make it sure that all fans can enjoy this. They sacrifice story. They sacrifice villains. They do it all to make sure that the majority of fans can enjoy it. They sacrifice a lot of so-called art. And they're winning. There's a reason for this. And you guys don't see it? You guys don't see this trend here. Dark isn't always better. Dark isn't always art. Just because you're willing to kill someone doesn't mean you're a good writer. Doesn't mean your story's any better. It doesn't mean any of that. Game of Thrones isn't good because they kill people. It's good writing in the show. Every death in that show is earned and it comes at the right time. Every single one. And yet the last season, the one with the least amount of deaths, is the highest rated. It's a trend, guys. Endings matter. People seeing their characters continue matter. Especially in RPGs. It's common sense. The fact that some developers don't get that, I don't know what to do. I can't raise my voice any louder than what I'm doing right now. This is the most I can do. As a consumer, as a video game lover, as an artist myself, I write, guys. That's what I do. I write. I create art. But I understand if I got into the business, some art needs to be sacrificed in order to be successful. Because when you go all artsy-fartsy, you get movies like Mother. Does anyone care about Mother? You get games like Gone Home. That was so critically praised. But look at the fan reaction now. Tell me people don't bash that game to death. Art over being commercial doesn't always equal good. There has to be a balance. 50-50. If you don't want to give the consumers what they want, get out of the business. Don't get into a business that is based on consumers you selling a product to them. Simple. It's simple. Thanks everyone for listening to my, we're almost at the 20-minute mark long rant. I love it. I love it. But this is just true. Endings matter. Especially when it comes to video games. Share your thoughts. Peace out.